What is a critical conversation? A critical conversation is a conversation that reveals important context, not only about ourselves, but about other people. Critical conversations edify, heal, and provide substance. Join Latanya Harris Gooden as she introduces us to critical conversations right here on Trailblazers Radio.
Hello, everybody. This is LHG. I am just coming to let you know that I am an independent paparazzi jewelry consultant. You didn't know that, did you? Well, now you know. So I would love to be your personal jewelry lady. Paparazzi is an amazing company. We sell nickel and lead-free jewelry. We are known for our $5 bling, but you just need to know there is an exclusive Z collection that's $25. It's the bling of all bling when you're really going out on the town and you want to show up absolutely fabulous. So we have items for women, for men, and for young fashionistas out there. We don't discriminate. If you need it, I'm sure we got it. You have the opportunity to follow my page on Facebook called Polished on Purpose, a VIP group. Follow my personal page, Latanya Harris Gooden. And I have my own website that is at your disposal 24/7. So many ways to shop. So let me be the one that makes sure you are accessorized the way you should be. Because I want you to be polished on purpose. My mentor always tells me, when you show up, people are checking you out. They're watching you. So why not be polished? Be poised. Be purposeful. Glam it up with pop, honey. I got what you need. Hey, everybody. Good evening and welcome to the Saturday evening edition of Critical Conversations. Yeah, I know you cannot see me, but in true podcast formation, you can listen to me. So go get your greens out, put them in the sink, wash them real good, get your knife out so you can chop them up, start getting ready for your Sunday dinner, and listen to your girl. Get in these comments. Let me know that you're here. Thank you to all of our Trailblazers radio supporters, those of you that's been rocking. I've only been on the team since late October of last year, but many of you have been consistently rocking for the last 2.5 or so years. And for that, we thank you. So I am your hostess, LHG, and that stands for Latanya Harris Gooden. And as you saw in the commercial, and yeah, my CEO said Latanya, but it's Latanya. But I go by either one, honey. I just call me, okay? Just call me either one. And as you saw in the commercial, one of the things that I do besides being a podcaster, which I am very proud of, I sell paparazzi jewelry. $5 bling is what we are known for. My part of paparazzi, my business, is called Polished on Purpose. Why did I pick that name? Because I have a customer service background for over 30 years. And one thing about customer service and customer facing is that you, even on the phone too, you have to be polished in your look, in your sound, in your demeanor, in your attitude. So I took that and infused it with this jewelry business to come up with POP, polished on purpose. I also call it pop culture because it is your pop of personality. It is how you show up. I have an amazing mentor, and he always reminds me, Ms. Harris, that's what he calls me. When you show up, whether it's in an email, a text message, please know this is how I talk, y'all. I just love them. They are looking at you, they are listening to you, they are sizing you up, and they are forming their opinions of you. And it makes sense. So I have to make sure I am reflecting myself, the God I serve, my family, in the best positive light. So I love jewelry. I've loved playing dress up since I was a little girl, putting on wigs and makeup and heels and pretending to be Lynette Hawkins Stevens and Twinkie Clark. So it just made sense. And when my bling boss, Latanya Scott, messaged me not last, 2 years ago, 2.5, 2020 in June, and she said, "You already love the product. You're already a great customer. Come on and become a consultant." And before I even thought about it, I said yes. I said yes to something that belongs to me. When you have invested so many years in corporate America, and trust me, I'll take nothing for my journey now. I'm grateful for my corporate journey. But when you have given so much of yourself, and you've become almost someone else to appease and appeal to the corporate structure and the corporate construct, it was time for me to find some outlet where LHG can be all of who I am. I'm loud. I love to laugh. I bring the party. I love sparkle. I love glam. I love connection. I love to talk. I love music. I love to train and be trained. So all of that made sense because becoming an independent paparazzi consultant meant I connect with so many other women and men. Okay? Let me be clear. Paparazzi is not just a woman's company. There are men consultants. We have men's jewelry, so why not? I get training. I've given a training or two before. I'm not the know it all, but what I do know and what I'm comfortable in, I have no problem sharing. Team building. I am all about motivating a team, pushing our teams to be better and go far. So yeah, it matches my personality. It just makes sense. So yeah, it's what I do. And it's flexible. I can do this in my own time. I don't punch the clock with selling jewelry. I go live, after I'm doing whatever else I do. I set my own pace in terms of pop ups and events. So, yeah, you really can set this up the way you want to. Plus, you make extra cash. So, if you're interested in number one, being a customer, I can put my website in the comments. And number two, being a consultant, put something in the comments as well, and I'll be happy to get in contact with you. I love what I do, and there is a sister slash brotherhood that has been really beneficial for my confidence. It's a community. So yeah, that's my spiel on that. So let's get over into today's topic. It's the pain of unappreciation and how to resuscitate the human spirit. And we're going to attack this or approach this, for lack of a better word, from a couple different angles. I hope you brought your tea or your coffee. Y'all know we do not come on to critical conversations dehydrated or ashy. So y'all know what y'all supposed to have, right? I got my coffee. So here's the deal. Have you ever found yourself feeling unappreciated in the workplace? I mentioned earlier that I have at least 30 years in corporate America. I'm going from, and longer than that technically, but I'm going from co op in high school to my first full time or part time actual job, and then going on from there. So I have a wide gamut of experience. I've done all kinds of reception work, going from different temp agencies before I found myself a consistent gig. I've done office supplies, Office Max, Office Depot. I've done that. And then it's funny because Office Max was a temp job, and another employee who left Office Max put in a good word for me to go to Office Depot. So people watch you. Let's just say that. Then from Office Depot, when they decided to close the Plymouth, Michigan warehouse and move to West Hampton, I think, New Jersey, that is when I moved forward and got a job where I am today, and they'll remain nameless. But I work in the auto insurance industry, and that particular environment afforded me call center work. I've done supervision, management, consulting, training, everything that I asked God to allow me to do in the 21 years I've been with my current employer. He has allowed me to do. And I'm grateful because I see my job not just as a corporate job, but it is a ministry for me. If anybody knows me out there, when I am a team leader or manager or supervisor or trainer, I become my team's biggest cheerleader. I am the one that's on the sidelines, pom poms and all, saying, "You can do it. You got this." I'm that girl because I feel like people will work harder and produce more when they feel appreciated and valued. And that's why I'm talking about this today, because many of us have gone many years at the same job or different jobs, and we've gone from place to place with the same feeling of they don't care about me, they don't even know me, I'm just a number, I'm making somebody else rich. And those are real common human feelings. And I want to talk about feeling unappreciated and how painful that can be, and then what we can do uh, to resuscitate or revive our spirits. I don't care what you say. When you go day after day working hard and producing, and you don't get not one accolade, not one thank you, not one atta girl, that does hurt you down to your spirit. I mean, you can try to be as strong as you want to be, but I'm saying I felt that. And then the more that you do, the more people expect of you. And then when you start pulling back, they want to, hit you in the performance review and say, "You've changed. You're different now." Well, yeah. When I was working 8 to 8 and 10 to 10 and 9 to 9, you didn't even know I was here. I didn't care. So when I start pulling back, now you want to say something. So let's get into it. Have you ever felt unappreciated or not valued? Respond to that in the chat. Second question: how did that make you feel? Respond to that in the chat. How did you handle those feelings? Put that in the chat. And then the final question: how did it change you going forward? Or did it not change you at all? Put that in the chat. So let me give you a story. In my current role, in my current employer, I'll say, I remember my first day, July 16th, 2001. And I'm coming in with all these jitters, the new job jitters. You know how you feel like, "Oh, what am I getting into? Is this going to be my big break? Oh my gosh." You up early, getting your outfit on, right? And you up, it's like the first day of school. I mean, I can remember this like it was yesterday, y'all. I was nervous. You don't know who you're going to meet. How are the trainers going to be? Are you going to absorb the information? Am I going to lag behind? So many emotions and just a myriad of things going through your mind. But I had a plan, y'all. And this is how my mind works. I'm walking into the door entry level. However, my plan is to excel. Whatever this is, God, whatever you have brought me to, you will take me through, and you can use me in this company to make a difference in people's lives, because service is really my life. I don't know anything else, y'all. I'm so serious. My mother taught us as girls to to serve. I watched her go to work and serve. I watched her help run a whole church, a few churches, to be honest with you, and serve the pastors and serve leadership. I've watched her grind for other people. in the area of administration, making sure everything was going smooth, getting the programs typed up, lining up speakers, taking care of the things that, the pastor didn't have time to do. I've seen her do that. So that's all I know. All I know is service. And in customer service, in call centers, and I've spent over 20, well, shoot, almost 30 years in a call center of some sort, 20 plus where I'm at now, and 10 in office supplies. So I've been a customer service oriented person for so long. I've taken every training known to man on how to smile with your voice, how to, put certain inflection on certain words, and words to avoid, 5 forbidden phrases, and how to empathize and how to acknowledge. That's my life. I helped create some of those materials to train that. So it's what I know. So service is LHG for real. No matter what capacity I'm in, I love to serve. I love the satisfaction of what service does. It gets the job done. It gets the job done. I love when the team can say, we did it. Love that feeling. Love it. So when I came into this role 21 years ago, not knowing what was ahead of me, and I just got into that training class and I just soaked all the training in. And immediately, y'all, I knew I wanted to be a trainer. I looked at my trainers and said to myself and to Jesus, that is what I will do. So my thought process was, girl, read every book, study every job aid, master this thing, because you are one day going to be the trainer and you're going to have students of your own. And so I prepared myself for that. I literally took my books on break with me, to lunch with me. I ate with them. I slept with the books in the bed because I was determined to learn and master everything they threw at me. And for the first year now of my job, I was asked to mentor, to walk the floor and answer questions. And I can remember the looks that I got from some people. Who does she think she is? She arrogant. She this. We don't know. We don't understand her. People tend to be afraid of what they don't understand. And I wasn't a part of the in crowd. I wasn't a part of the clique. I did have and still have my good friends who today are my sisters, but I really was about my business, y'all. And I had a dream and a goal. And sometimes when you have a goal and you're so focused on that goal, people think that you are, dismissive of them, think that you're better than them. And that was not the case, never was. So I'm pushing forward, I'm doing my work. And the different awards start coming in, and they started to ask for volunteers to learn new stuff. And the first thing people said was, learn what new? But where's the pay? You want me to learn this system, learn that system, do this new and do that? Where's the money at? I didn't approach it like that, y'all. Because I felt if I can get the knowledge, okay, walk with me here, I'm going somewhere. If I can get the knowledge, y'all, when the position open up, if it finds me postured the right way, I can get the position, okay? I wasn't worried about the money in that moment. I felt like if I can just get this additional knowledge, and if I can stress that to you all, if you're out there and you're trying to excel, get promoted, be developed, and grow in your company, sometimes moving laterally or just volunteering to learn stuff, it gets you where you want to get. Don't just look at the dollars and cents in the moment. The knowledge can be leveraged. So when they said we want volunteers, trust me, boo, my hand went up every time. And I ended up getting my first training class. I wasn't a trainer by title, okay? But they allowed me to test the waters and train one system. And I absolutely knew it was my thing. And I was so excited. So here's the thing. We're going to get to the topic today. I got my coffee. So on this journey, you're learning all these new things, right? People come to the office that are big wigs and they say, well, I've got to put you with someone that's good to listen to. Where's Latanya? Plug them up, Latanya. She's our best. She's our best. Okay, fine. Thank you for the accolades. I'm glad you say that. I appreciate that. So, but here's the thing. They didn't mind using me in terms of my expertise in training classes, to record my calls, for example calls. They didn't mind doing that. But guess what? When it came to being promoted in the early years, on paper, I had learned every system. I had volunteered in every pilot program. I looked good. And I interviewed pretty well, if I'd say so myself. However, I didn't get the job in the beginning. And when I got the feedback, y'all, do you know what they told me? You lack leadership skills. So let me get this straight. You use me to mentor. That requires some leadership skill. You take my calls and play them in front of your new classes to emulate. I would think that means I'm some kind of a leader. You even put your leaders, your vice presidents and your AVPs with me to listen to my calls plugged in for hours. You wouldn't plug them into someone that wasn't nailing it every time. So all these things, all these ducks in a row, y'all, and you would think I was a shoo-in, and you come back and tell me I lack leadership skills. When I tell you that was a pain, and they give the promotion to someone that had been there less time than me, hadn't done anywhere near as many projects as I had done, I was hurt down to the white meat. Do y'all hear me? Indescribable pain. What did I do? I went applying for other jobs. I was mad. I'm putting my resume. The pain of unappreciation when you know you busting your butt. And I wasn't busting my butt just to be seen. I bust my butt because that's the only way I knew to work. If you're going to come to work, if you're going to put your name on something, make it reflect who you are. And I did it all as unto the Lord as well. But at the end of the day, I also did it to be developed and to get a foot in to leadership. But it wasn't working for me. So the rumor mill came to me saying, they're not letting you get into leadership because you take too many phone calls. You're too valuable where you are. I'm like, are you serious? You got to be kidding. So because I'm good at what I do in my current job, you're telling me I can't get ahead. That makes zero sense. So I kept trying, y'all. I put in for every job I thought I qualified for and some that I didn't think I qualified for. And I got those same letters. Thank you for applying. We picked someone else. I could plaster my entire room, my entire house with the letters that I got. And I got discouraged. I did. Until one day, there was a leadership award. One of our big time executives had passed away, and they named an award after her. I didn't get a chance to meet her personally, but she was a very significant part of our organization. And so you can nominate, people for the award. So I put my nominations in, let it go, and didn't think about it anymore, y'all, until one day I'm on the phone doing what I do. And let me tell you, when I take calls, every call, I am the Mary J. Blige of call center. Mary leaves her soul on stage. I would leave my soul on the desk. and take care of my customers the best way I could every call. I took pride in myself in giving the best possible service every time that phone would say, Michigan, Wisconsin, whatever. So I'm doing my call, y'all, and I look on the floor next to me and I see all of these shoes. And I could tell by the shoes, these were executive men. I'm thinking to myself, who is it at my desk? What I do? I'm about to get in trouble. And I looked up and it was the president of our department, AVP, and some other big wigs. And I'm looking like, well, I'm on a call, so I can't like put the call on hold. So I said, y'all wait a minute. And I finished my call. And they came to tell me that out of 3,000 employees, I was one of the 6, I believe, to get this award. And I'm like, what? And to this day, I don't know who nominated me, but it felt really good to be awarded for what you love. And it took some of the sting away from not getting considered for the other positions. But now the $1,000,000 question is, you give me a leadership award, what now? And I believe to this day that that same executive that helped me get that award told his staff, I can't give this child an award for being a leader and you don't make her a leader. I think that forced their hand. I do. I could be wrong, but I think that was what it took to open up the door and say, hey, she really does have qualities that could be good in a capacity of leadership. She's dedicated, she's punctual, she's trustworthy, her stats are outstanding, she knows the job. People, for the most part, get along with her. I didn't really have any enemies. She's a team player. She builds the team and not even, she ain't even the boss and she's motivating the team. So why not? So yeah, finally I had a chance. But let me tell you, it did not come without a cost, because people look at you one way when you're in an entry level position and a different way when you start to promote up. The people who were in your corner when you were at ground level may or may not be in your corner when you reach the 3rd and 4th floor. They start to see you differently when you're behind those doors where the decisions are being made and you get the inside scoop of what's really going on. So I had to fight, y'all. I was Sophia and I had to fight for my seat at the table. And even at the table, I felt unappreciated for what I brought to the table. I brought experience. I had been on the phones. Some stuff you couldn't tell me because I knew what this job took. I did the work. And I happen to believe that people should promote from within because you have less to train them on. I knew what it was to take those calls in my sleep. I kid you not. I'm not saying I was perfect as a manager, but when I came in there, I was the voice of the CSR. I knew what went on. I knew what it took to be successful in that capacity. I knew what the customers liked and didn't like. So I thought I was coming in with some good insight. But trust me, and I've learned too, that people who look like you, I'm talking about us African Americans, some of our own people are our own worst critics. And when I tell you, I had a couple of people that really did not like me, and they had no reason at all. And one of them had to tell me, one lady came to me and told me, I have to apologize to you. The Lord told me, she said, to come apologize to you because I allow other people to make me not like you based upon how they felt about you. Come on in here, y'all. That junk hurt. So the pain of unappreciation, it almost makes you feel like you're invisible, like you are working hard, not just for yourself, but for the good of a team. When you're in a call center, If any of you have call center experience and knowledge, you know that outside of your own individual numbers and stats, we call them, the team, the team's success depends on the individual numbers. So how good our team is based on each individual team member hitting the target. So it would behoove your leaders to encourage everybody to strive, because if you have one or two or three people that are slipping, it can bring the team average down. So my point of view, y'all, I'm gonna rock it out, not just for myself. I'm gonna rock it out because I want this team to be number one. I do have a competitive side. I won't lie. In the call center environment and in a team environment, I felt that yes, I want whatever team I'm on to win. If we had team building competitions, yes, I want whatever team I was on to win. And I pushed for that. It just felt good for myself. I wasn't trying to outdo nobody. And I got tired of being accused of she thinks she bad. She trying to outshine. The devil is a liar, because little did people know. Here's some insight about me. Little did they know that my own low self-esteem made me want to always be in the background. But the quality of my work pushed me to the front. Woo! I didn't have to raise my hand too much. People came looking for LHG. Well, I was LH then. So when you do good work and when you have a solid reputation and it precedes you and your name is a buzzword in the department, you don't have to go searching. People will come looking for you. That's why I call my business polished on purpose. When you are polished, when you are poised, when you are professional, come on, 3Ps, people will look for you. And when the projects come out, they will say, Latanya, I want you to be on this team. Latanya, I want you on this focus group. Latanya, I want you on the advisory committee. Come on in here. So if any of you are listening to me rant and you have been wondering, how do I get leverage in this industry I'm in this job I have, do an impeccable job, because you are your own brand. Just like the company you work for is a brand. And trust me, my employer is a very popular brand. I'm talking 100 plus years worth. However, LHG is her own brand. Listen to me, y'all. Every time you pick up your phone and call somebody, when you write an email, when you send a text, when you show up, it is imperative. It is imperative that you look the part, you sound the part, you act the part. What part, LHG? Business. Real business has no color. So to all the people who in my younger years told me I sound white, shame on you. Because you're saying business sounds white, and that's a lie. Business sounds like business. The only color it has is green, like money. It doesn't matter what color you are, what nationality you are, what culture you are. Learn the universal language of business. Professional speaking voices. Refraining from ebonical phrases. Sitting straight up on the Zoom call and not being all slouched down. Putting on some clothes on the Zoom call. Come on here, naked jaybirds. Listen here. I'm trying to help somebody today. But going back to being unappreciated, there was no day that I would go in that office and didn't bust my butt. I cut the lights on, I cut the lights off because I didn't know any better. But in the back of my mind, I'm just going to be honest. We talking honesty here. In the back of my mind, I'm wondering, Does anybody even notice? Does anybody even see? Anybody even care that I'm the one that come to the meeting early and wipe down everything? That I'm the one that brought, snacks to the meeting. That I'm the one that made sure the meeting room was what you call reserved before we got there. But I'm the one that made the copies of the handouts. Because I am a organizer by nature. My mother was the one that would conduct the meetings and made sure everything went smooth. That is my personality. Every capacity I'm in, I feel it's my job to get things going. I'm that one. But when you work in a capacity where your superiors don't appreciate their employees, or their expectations are so unrealistic that no matter how much you do, you still aren't doing enough. Have anybody ever worked for somebody that no matter how much you put into something, no matter how you are their right hand, no matter how you show up when others didn't, no matter how you put your blood, sweat, and tears into something, you couldn't even get a simple thank you? But if you did something wrong, the emails don't stop, the phone calls don't stop. Some people, some leaders, listen here, will give more publicity to your mistakes than they ever will your triumphs. Why? Because that is their personality, because they have trust issues, because no one acknowledged them. Let's be honest. People lead from their emotions. Even the most emotionless boss I've ever had led out of emotion. People can pretend to be stern, pretend to be cold, pretend to be unbothered, but really they are the most emotional, the most bothered, the most unwell people. Having the wrong type of boss, in my opinion, can make or break you in a position. I know that's probably not the best to say, but I'm just being honest. I know what it's like to work for someone that just had no empathy, had no sense of humanity, was just a machine. And it would take a force of nature to get them to just say thank you, to just say good job, to just say I needed you and you showed up. But let something go wrong, let somebody get in their ear about something that went wrong, they own like right on rice. That ain't right. So my style of being a leader, my style is to first of all recognize that my staff is human. And in this pandemic, if we didn't learn anything else, in my humble opinion, we should have learned the value of being alive. So many of us lost friends and loved ones to COVID and other diseases over that time. People lost parents, lost spouses, lost children, lost cousins. To me, if nothing else, COVID should have made us value the human experience even more. I learned how to value even more people pushing through their pain to show up for work, whether it's in person or to log on. So when you are in customer service, when you are talking to customers all day, you have to bring the A game no matter how you feel. You can't come on the phone sounding sluggish, angry, bothered, because that can cost us customers, which in turn costs us money. So in some cases, if you are a customer service rep, whether you are customer facing or over the phone, you can't really afford to have a bad day. I hate to say it like that, but you really can't unless you're going to fake it. And I don't really think that that's good either. You really have to have some kind of enjoyment and get some kind of fulfillment out of servicing people. And that was what I did. I took every call as a challenge. Okay, how am I going to save the day for this customer? How am I going to make their bad day better? How am I going to turn this irate customer into someone who was just falling in love with me? I took it as a challenge. I'm talking challenge. I love getting complicated stuff because it pressed me and pushed me into a whole nother level of skill. It takes a certain kind of person to work in a call center. I don't care what y'all say. And I know in COVID, companies had so much turnover because folks was getting sick and they had to have a revolving door of training classes. Revolving door, I get it. However, the customer service department of a business is the lifeblood. I don't care how good your service is. I don't care how great your product is. The people who are the face and voice of your company hold your future. So, call center executives, if you are listening to me, if you have call center workers who are taking call after call after call, making sure your abandon rate isn't high, making sure your service level is met, making sure they're getting those people in and getting them out and satisfying these customers, you had better appreciate them. And I'm not talking about just with a paycheck. I am talking about even the smallest things. What I used to do randomly, if somebody was in our office selling candy or selling whatever, I would just go buy 10, 15 of them and give them to my team. Go get a case of water and pass it out. Go get some chips and pass them out. When I first began my job, Monday was our busiest day at the call center. It probably still is in anybody's call center. And we used to have our good friend would have a cart of chips, water, Rice Krispie treats, because we knew the service level was going to be off the chain because people didn't realize we're open 24/7. So Monday was the busiest, and don't let it be a holiday on a Monday. Woo, woo, woo. So our friend would walk the floor giving us water, chips, whatever. And I thought that was the coolest gesture. Since I know you're taking back-to-back calls, that means your throat probably dry, you probably tired. Here is a little snack just to keep you going. A little reward goes a long way, people. Now, since we're working at home, buy your staff a $10 gift card to Uber Eats or to whatever randomly. Just saying thank you. I know people won't want to tie reward to get numbers. I get that. Call center is a world of numbers. We got to meet our service level. We got to not have any abandoned calls. We got to have I get that. But numbers don't always tell everything or mean everything. If they show up consistently, if the callers are satisfied with the service they give, if they are committed, that enough to me is worth some kind of reward, executives and leaders. A thank you, whether you have a point system in your company where you send points or e-card to them saying, I heard you on that phone call. You nailed it. I know it was difficult, but I heard how you navigated the situation with professionalism and poise. You were great. I'm proud of you. I heard you. I see you. I hear you. People just want to know that they're being seen and heard. And you don't have to do it every single day, but do it when they least expect it. And in my opinion, the appreciated employee will push for you when you don't even ask. So when you are having those days when the calls are on hold and you need people to volunteer for overtime, if you are appreciating your staff, they will volunteer because they know you got their back. They know you see, they know you appreciate it. But if you don't appreciate them, you ain't said nothing, and you just own them about everything bad, you can forget it. You can forget it. I am not and have never been and will never be the kind of boss that has to be a dictator. That is not in my DNA. What I like to do though is encourage my staff enough to make them want to push, to make them feel so comfortable on my team that they want to push for the team. They want to do that much more. They want to get in the trenches. That's what a good leader does. And they need to see their leader in those trenches too. That is how I show my appreciation. Also, I do the work alongside them when I need to. I'm not going to be calling them for overtime on Saturday and I'm at home in my bed. No, no, no. Oh, no, not at all. So, y'all, I want to go over this article. It talks about, it's a Harvard Business Review article. It's called What to Do When You Don't Feel Valued at Work by author Rebecca Knight. I want to make sure I get that on record. I did not write this article, but I will be doing my own commentating as I read it. So, Harvard Review for Business, What to Do When You Don't Feel Valued at Work by Rebecca Knight. So the author says it's no fun to toil away at a job when your efforts go unnoticed. She asks this question: how can you highlight your achievements without being a bragger? Who should you talk to about feeling underappreciated? And if it doesn't change, how long do you stay? Stop right there. She's saying you have options. She's saying you should be able to speak upon your own marketability, your own accomplishments without being arrogant. But if you do that and things still don't change, well, how long should I stick around? Let's talk about it. The experts say there's nothing worse than feeling unseen and unheard in the workplace, says Annie McKee, author of How to Be Happy at Work. We all have a human need. Come on here. Human need to be appreciated for our efforts. And so when our colleagues don't notice our contributions, it makes us feel as though we don't belong. Put a bookmark right there. So not just your boss should notice. We should notice each other as colleagues when we do a good job. So put away that extra competition where you so high up you can't even say that your peer did a good job. In a call center, we could hear each other's conversations for the most part. If we heard each other have a very difficult call, and you can tell it's hard by the tone of the person's voice and by the words that they're saying. So we knew when our coworkers had a really tough call, maybe prejudiced person, hard to hearing person, rude person, whatever. So when our co-workers were done with the call, a lot of us would give them a standing ovation or walk over and say, you did that dang on thing, because we were in it together. We were truly colleagues and friends. So the article says, you might also start to worry about your professional advancement if people don't notice what you do. And you may start to wonder, how am I going to get ahead if nobody notices what I do at this level? But you're not powerless to change the situation, says Karen Dillon, author of HBR Guide to Office Politics. She says there are many ways to make sure people understand and see what you do. The key, she says, is to find diplomatic ways to toot your own horn. And here are some ideas. Stop right there. It is not a problem to toot your own horn. It is not illegal to toot your own horn in a diplomatic way. Are we trying to say nobody working hard but me? Look at me, 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 me. No. But we do deserve to be seen and heard for our contributions. That's not, to me, unrealistic. So the first thing the author tells us to do is to be realistic. The article says, before you take any action, ask yourself this question. Are you being realistic about the amount of appreciation you are expecting from your boss, colleagues, peers, and clients? People are very busy. The feedback might not be as much as you want, but it might be reasonable within the context of your organization. You're dealing with human beings, the author says. Even with good intentions, your colleagues, your manager could overlook what you do and take you for granted. But when you're feeling unappreciated, the author recommends running a personal test on your recent accomplishments, asking yourself, was my work extraordinary? Was my work over and beyond what my peers typically do? And importantly, if I had to ask for credit for it, would I sound like a jerk? And if you're not sure, the author says, find a trustworthy, slightly senior colleague or peer that you respect and ask them. So let's break that down. The author is saying, before you go busting up in your boss's office, ghetto fabulous style, saying, see me, hear me, was the quality of your work truly that good? How do you know? In most cases, you would get maybe customer feedback. We get kudos sometimes from customers who have had a very positive experience on the phone with our reps. So if a letter or a call comes in and the customer says, I want to talk to your manager, you were extraordinary. I was going to drop y'all until I got you. You saved the day. That's kind of the way to know that you've gone over and beyond. That's one way to know. But the author is just saying, before you go busting loose and getting yourself fired, ask yourself, is my work product worthy of the praise I'm expecting? How else can you know? Your performance review. Here's the thing. If I'm getting high accolades in my reviews every month and year after year in writing, but you can never tell me I'm doing well, I got a problem with you. You can put it in writing every month. You're doing great, doing wonderful. But you don't talk about my work beyond that. That could be a problem. I feel like when a kudos comes in for a person, it's a all hands on deck, stop and see what has happened situation. I would share that email of congratulations or way to go to the entire department. Hey, everybody, please join me in recognizing Lisa Johnson for her amazing conversation with customer XYZ on this date. The customer says she was outstanding, professional. She answered her questions. She called the other departments and got help. I want everyone to celebrate that person. It makes people feel good when their kudos is shared amongst their colleagues. And then the colleagues can respond, way to go, Lisa. Good job, Lisa. That's my girl. Go, girl. It feels good. It's an encouragement to keep doing that level of work. And it's an encouragement to others who may not be performing that well. Okay, let's keep going. The article says, talk to your boss. Dum, 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 dum. If your above par efforts are going unsung, engage your boss in a conversation, says the author. Granted, this will be easier with some managers than others. Stop right there. You know what kind of boss you got. You know, given their personality and track record, whether or not this is going to go well. Let's keep going. The average boss doesn't pay attention to human needs, says the author. If yours falls into that category, keep in mind that you're not going to change them, but what you can do is give them a signal that you like more dialogue on your performance and maybe more dialogue on what you are doing right, and which can also include dialogue on where you can improve. Open the door for dialogue, y'all. The author says if your boss is average to good, he or she may heed the call. But of course, key point, be subtle. Don't go in saying, I want more appreciation. Instead, the author suggests, say something like this: I'd like to talk to you about the past 3 months and get a sense of where my strengths lie and where I could learn. And come prepared with specific examples, says the author. The author suggests you create a list of your recent achievements to jog your manager's memory. Stop right there. If you have the kind of manager that gets convenient amnesia when it comes to doing your performance review and they forget your accomplishments, baby, write them down yourself. Because truth is, managers do get busy. Truth is, they can be so stretched that they don't remember. So, what I started doing many years ago is when I get put on a project or I get some accolades or I get recommended for certain teams, and I'm over here and I'm over there and I'm over here helping this department, write that junk down and keep it on a Word document, a running Word document. So when it's time for you to have your monthly one-on-one or your semi-annual or annual review, you come locked and loaded, boo. Because guess what? If they not gonna remember, you remember. And if y'all talking and they forget to bring up the teams you've been on, the overtime you've done, the volunteering you've done, baby, be like, bam, here go the evidentiary substantiations, boo. And it's not to be in a harsh way. It's not meant to be mean. It's meant to say, I know you're busy. I just took the time to jot down a few things. And for me, I would feel good if my team did that. To me, that means you're invested in this conversation. And what I come with should match what they come with. And if it doesn't, then I'm glad you brought that. I missed something. I apologize. I'm human. I apologize. But a performance review and a one-on-one is to review that person's performance, not just baseline, but it is to highlight the extra stuff that they've done, whether volunteer or by your recommendation. Even if your boss recommended you to work with team number 12, that is still an accomplishment to even be recommended for that team. That means whatever you're doing, you were recognized in being worthy enough to be on this team. Write it down. Take an interest in your own performance and keep a list of your accomplishments. Because trust me, they keeping a list of your errors. They keeping a list of the bad stuff. So you had better take initiative and write down your accomplishments and do it real time. Don't wait. As soon as you do something, put it in your Word document and just keep adding to it, adding to it, adding to it. Keep notes, because trust me, the way business works, people will get convenient amnesia when it comes to your good contributions. And they so quick to bring up, well, you got an error here, and this error cost us $1 million, and this error cost us okay, and I own my error, but I also brought in what I did right. Take an interest in your own performance. Let's go back to the article, y'all. This is blessing me today. Increase your team's visibility. So if you are a manager, if you have a team of your own, the author is saying, look for ways to explain to others how your team should be valued, what your team has accomplished, not just you as an individual. I'm only as good as my team. That's why I put so much time and effort into motivating them, reviewing their work, having team meetings, encouraging them, because I want my team to be a reflection of me as their leader. And that means you have to be a connected leader. You can't just hide behind a desk, hide behind a computer, and not connect to your team, but expect them to just perform. You have to keep the goals in front of them, abreast of changes, motivated, keep the dialogue going. So the author is saying, make sure you find a way to promote your team as a whole. Outline what they do on a daily basis. Make it clear of what their contributions are and how they are delivering day to day. Spread the word. Don't just hoard the credit. Make sure your team is getting the credit. I love, 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 love when my team shines. There is something that gives me an adrenaline rush when my team is number one. I love it. It feels good. So good. Now, another way to avoid feeling unappreciated and undervalued, and this is a good point, y'all, validate yourself. This is so good, y'all. The author says, while being appreciated and valued for your work is a wonderful thing, we cannot expect all of your motivation to come from others, honors, accolades, and public gratitude. Intrinsic motivator, that's you motivating yourself. That's more powerful. You need to strive to find meaning in the work you do yourself. Ultimately, over the course of your working life, you want to move away from the necessity of external validation. Real and true fulfillment, the author says, comes from within. That thing is serious. The author suggests you make an effort to pat yourself. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself. Same thing. Pat yourself on the back regularly, y'all. Try to carve out time at the end of each week to reflect on what went well and what didn't go so well. Be honest. This is your work product here. The author says this is a useful exercise to remember both what you're good at and why you do what it is you do. Be careful not to sink into deficiency mode where everything is wrong, meaning don't beat yourself up, but definitely catalog the wins. And you're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for God. If that's your motivation, what I do as unto the Lord for his reward. So when you come away from the necessity of needing others to validate you, you feel better. And let me just interject this. Coming from a household where I wanted my mother's validation and approval, I believe my trauma followed me into the workplace to where I am uncomfortable if my boss isn't at least saying thank you or at least saying job well done. Or think about in school, how good it felt to get your paper back with a sticker on it or red, not red, but a little smiley face or that A plus, and how it felt good for the teacher to get up and say, we had one person get a perfect score on the test. That was LaTanya Harris. Oh, I used to love that feeling, y'all. I used to love that feeling, but it followed me into the industry I work in. Not that I have to have accolades every day, But one thing that appreciation helped me to do or helped me to know is that I was on the right track, doing it the right way. Sometimes when you're on a project and the parameters aren't so clear to you and you kind of winging it, if you're doing it right, it's good for someone to say, I saw your work, you're on the right track, you're doing good. Stay right there. Because if you don't get something, some kind of feedback, you will spend countless hours thinking you're doing it right and you're doing it wrong and you got to redo it. So what I start doing, y'all, when I get on a project and I know it's due in a month, maybe at the midpoint or the 1 week point, I take what I have and present it to my boss and say, okay, boss, how does this look? Before I go any further, is this what you want? So I don't spin my wheels. So I want him or her to say, that's good, LHG. I like how you did so and so. Or I like this, but let's tweak this. Because some bosses, let's just be honest, some people don't know what they want or they don't give clear instruction. So they are leaning on you to start it off. But you're doing so blindly, hoping it's what the boss or the client wants. So getting those checkpoints in 1 week in, 2 weeks in, halfway point, at least gives you a sense of, okay, I think I'm on the right track. Let me confirm that so I'll know if I should continue down this road or pull back and go a different way. So appreciation isn't just for, oh, that felt good. It is also serving a purpose of saying you are on the right track. Continue doing that or don't continue doing that. Okay? Let's keep going. So some principles to remember according to the author of this article. Let me drink some coffee, y'all. Okay. Here we go. Things to do. Seek a second opinion on whether the amount of appreciation you expect is realistic. Remember, people do get busy. Okay. Don't take everything personal. It could literally be that your boss or colleagues are so inundated, they just haven't had a chance to say, great job. Okay. Second, give other people praise and appreciation. If you do it, you may ignite others to do it. I am real big. If my colleague help me do something, help me figure out something, help me whatever, I will shout it to the mountaintops. I love shouting people out. I love being the one to be able to thank someone for what they've done to help me. It feels good to me. Next, look for ways to make your work more visible or your team's work more visible. What not to do, okay? Don't have such an intense need for self-validation. Validate yourself. Carve out time at the end of the month to reflect on what worked well for you and celebrate yourself. Don't hoard the credit for the whole team. Let the team share the credit with you. But don't stay in a company that doesn't value you at all. You have options. You don't have to be stuck. I don't care what it looks like. You can apply for job after job and get a no after no after no. Keep trying. For many years, I felt stuck. Sometimes we do that to ourselves because we're comfortable where we are. But if you're not valued, if you're the one that's ripping and running and doing all the work and not getting all the credit, it may not be healthy to stay there. That's stressful. That can bring on anxiety and depression and PTSD. So know that you have options. So I want to transition now into what happens when you feel unappreciated in relationships. How many of you know, or maybe you are, a grandmother who has raised her own children And now you find yourself raising your grandchildren. And you are the babysitter every day. People assume you ain't got no life. They dump their kids on you. They don't bring no food for the kids. They don't bring no clean clothes for the kids. So you feed them, you wash their clothes, they don't comb their hair, they don't pay you, they don't do nothing. They just feel like, here, mama. That can hurt. And sometimes, let's just be honest, y'all. It's a monster that we create by being available all the time. Same thing in the corporate arena. If I'm the one that's always responding first to the email, team, I need someone to be the lead on blank. I got it. Team, who can handle? I got it. That was me. And I would do it so quickly because it was like an anxious thing. I wanted to get it finished. But guess what? What was I doing? Teaching my colleagues to not do it. Don't answer it. Latanya will get it. She likes that kind of stuff. Same thing in relationships, grandmothers, aunties, big mamas, Medias. If you are always the place people go for everything and you get no reciprocity, they're going to keep coming to you and giving you nothing because you have allowed it. We teach people how to treat us. So if you become the dumping ground, same thing with friendships. If you got a girlfriend and they call you all time of day, oh my God, I'm going through this. And you praying, snotting, praying heaven down, trying to get them through and taking them groceries and paying a phone bill and hugging them and holding them, doing all this. But when you need something, see, when you need something, they're nowhere to be found, but you keep doing it. Shame on you. How many grandmothers have we lost to premature death because we put too much stress on their bodies and on their minds and on their spirits without enough appreciation? The cemetery is probably full of people who left here before they should have because they were just broken down. And grandmothers, you are going to have to, if your children are able-bodied to make these babies, you are going to have to let them raise their own children. Because many of y'all grandparents get extra nice with the grandkids. Y'all don't make them wash dishes. Y'all don't make them clean the house. Y'all spoil them and make them rotten little monsters. I know a few of them. Well, I'm tired. I just don't have the strength. That's the point. Those aren't your kids. Now, in some cases, let me be clear. In some cases, some parents have medical problems and they're physically or mentally unable to care for their own children. But even in that, you, grandma, still need help. Make them grown grandkids clean up and do for themselves. Teach them real life skills. Teach them what appreciation looks like. They living with you rent free, eating your food, breaking your furniture, driving your car. Show them what appreciation look like. Snatch that stuff back when they don't do right. But if you keep giving to them and you keep spoiling them, you are doing them a disservice. Because what happens when you leave here? They will not have basic life skills. Listen, this goes on too much in the African American community. How many people do you know coming to your church, older saints, with a bunch of small kids? Those are their grandkids. And the kids keep popping a kid out every 9 months. Pop, pop, pop. You can go to bed with a man, and it ain't just the girls. The boys is having these kids too. Mama, I'm gonna bring my baby over there. Mama. Listen, my daddy, bless his heart, and I love you, daddy, was supposed to be coming to get me and spend time with me. Where did I end up? At my grandmother's house. How you gonna come get me, ain't seeing me in 2 months, to drop me off at Big Mama house? I'm supposed to be with you, daddy. And the grandparents love the grandkids so much. The love and the connection between a grandparent and a grandchild is so priceless. But we have to be ever so careful, grandparents, that we don't phase out the parent, even if they're not all the way stable. Find a way to involve them. Because what happens is these young people grow up spoiled as HE double hockey sticks, don't have no real understanding of how to conduct adult business, is steady getting older, but you do everything for them. But you're not going to live forever. And you're neglecting your own life. You should be in your golden years enjoying traveling, doing what your kids grown. This happens so much in our community, y'all. Our grandparents become everybody's caregiver, and it breaks them down. They leaving here at 60 and 70 as opposed to 90 and 100 because they raising 2 and 3 sets of kids. Everyone dumps their kids off at Big Mama house. And Big Mama love them babies. She ain't gonna turn them away because she wants them to be safe and eat good. I know Big Ma. I know. I had a Big Ma. May she rest in peace. But in our community, y'all, we got to do better. If you need your mama or father to babysit, I had that. My parents were extremely helpful for me in my career, taking care of my daughter. But I gave them money, I sent food, and I kept my own kids sometimes. Help me, yes, but don't let them become the parent. We got to do this thing right, y'all. I know it takes a village, but don't take your village for granted to where you ain't give them no money. They spending money on food, washing powder to wash your baby's dirty clothes. Don't do that. It's a whole series on treating grandmothers right. Treat them with respect. Don't assume that all grandmama want to do is raise your children. And mamas, y'all got to make sure y'all daughters raise their own kids. Y'all sons raise their own kids. So these grandmamas can rest too. They're already older. They can't even go to their own doctor's appointments worrying about their grandchildren. Why? One young lady that I saw at an event a few weeks ago or a week ago was in tears. She's a grandmother. I call her young, but she's a grandmother. And we were at an event and she burst into tears because she was tired of being taken for granted by her family and her grandchildren, running over her, not paying her, treating her like nothing. It hurt me to my heart, y'all. It hurt me to see how hurt she was. I'm not saying we shouldn't be able to rely on our family members, but there is a line that has to be drawn, y'all. You can't take over their whole life and assume that because your mama lived with you, you can go party and leave your kids with her. No, you had these kids, stay at home. Raise your own freaking kids. Mama can't do nothing because you assume all she lived for is them grandkids. Lies you tell. That's not fair. It's not. I appreciated my parents helping me with my daughter. I appreciate my family. To show appreciation, if they needed something, I had no problem providing it. You need money, you need groceries, you need whatever. You helping me, I'm gonna definitely do for you. Even if they wouldn't take it, I found a way to give it to them. Still offer. Still offer. Lord have mercy. I'm gonna get out of here, y'all, because this is serious. But I wanted to talk about this because oftentimes we walk around feeling a certain kind of way and we don't tell people how we feel. If you're in any kind of relationship and you feel unappreciated, even if it's a marriage, tell your spouse, sometimes I think you don't appreciate what I do for you. I'm washing, I'm cooking, I'm cleaning. Tell them. Maybe they think they do appreciate you. Or maybe your love language, they're not the same. Maybe they feel that they're operating in the right way, but it's not the language you want. Talk about it. Don't think someone can read your mind, y'all. I got to get out of here. I want to thank you all for joining me today on my show. Thank you for your support. Just to let you know, next Thursday, which is February 9th at 8 p.m., we'll be doing the fundraiser show for Coco. She's one of our podcasters, and she has been dealing with some medical issues for years, and her treatment costs thousands, and she needs our help. So join us on next Thursday. My show will be on Thursday next week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to do a fundraiser. We're going to be talking to her about her story. I'll make sure you have the GoFundMe link if you haven't seen it. Everybody who supports this network, I need you in the chat on that day. Share the information, invite people. We want to show up for Coco. Coco always shows up for everybody. So we want to show up for her. All right. Thank you all. And Girl Chat Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Every Tuesday is Girl Chat. This Tuesday, we're talking about embracing our body and getting our life right. Okay. All right. Thank you for joining me on today's podcast. I know it was different. You can't see me, but you can hear me. And I thank you all for your support. Until Tuesday for Girl Chat, have a good weekend. Love y'all and good night.